Developing news this evening, Meghan Markle has signed a new podcast deal with Lemonada Media after she and Prince Harry parted ways with Spotify. The move will see her launch a new podcast series, and Lemonada will also distribute her previous Spotify series, Archetypes, to all podcast platforms. Now, this comes as Harry and Meghan launched Sussex.com to replace their Archewell website, with the branding including their Royal Sussex title and a coat of arms. So, could this have anything to do with this new podcast deal? Joining me to discuss this, royal commentator Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, what do you make of the news about this podcast deal? Surely good news for Harry and Meghan.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we need to pay close attention here, because if you think about Spotify, they advertise and they market that there are 5 million podcasts on their platform. Lemonada is a startup. It's female run. They launched in 2019. They have 50 shows under their umbrella. So I think that this is Harry and Meghan deciding that Meghan wants to be a big fish in a small pond. She's going to have more control in a place like this. And I think that, I watched a little bit of the co-founder and the CEO talk about what makes their Julia Louis-Dreyfus podcast so successful. And she went into the marketing plan, their planned partnerships with other platforms. She talked about editorial and public relations, earned media, word of mouth. So Harry and Meghan are going to a place that clearly has a strategy behind everything they release, clearly is going to give them hands-on attention. And like I said, I think that Meghan is going to have way more control in a smaller media entity like this than somebody like a powerhouse like Spotify.
And importantly, keeps them working, of course, as well, because they have to have a source of income. And there's been so much scrutiny over their Netflix deal, the Spotify deal, where it would be going next. So now we know they've got some other project on the go. And up to this podcast announcement, the royal news of the day was about the relaunch of their website, the Sussex website, particularly the fact that it's got a sort of, looks like a royal coat of arms on it. What do you know about this and how the palace has responded?
I mean, there are whispers that the palace is unhappy with it, but it reminds you of the Sussex royal launch at the beginning of when Megxit started to unravel. Harry and Meghan launched SussexRoyal.com without permission from the palace, no consultation whatsoever. And Prince William, Prince Charles at the time, and the Queen were very unhappy with that. They felt like it was very disrespectful that they wouldn't even ask, them to help navigate. They also listed out what their expectations were when stepping back from royal life, and half of those weren't even a realistic option for Harry and Meghan. I wonder, Rosana, if this is Harry and Meghan really trying to separate their foundation from their personal drama and their professional failures. Archewell received $2 million in donations in 2022. I believe that was an $11 million decrease from the previous year. If I were to ask you what Archewell does, I would be surprised if you could tell me. I think that they have got to separate those two things so that so that they don't pollute the charity efforts that they are pursuing, and so that they can separate some of this professional failure and personal, kind of drama that tends to follow them.
You're right that if you asked me, I wouldn't be able to tell you what the Archewell Foundation has done, but it's mainly because I don't follow royal news as closely as you and some of our viewers do. But I appreciate there is always so much speculation and fascination around this. Just briefly, Kinsey, just a few days, just about a week on from King Charles's cancer diagnosis, Harry came over here very briefly. Have we seen much of him since then? Now he's back in the States.
We haven't, no. And I think that was probably I think that that's intentional, because they're heading to Canada to promote the Invictus Games 2025. So we're going to get plenty of them in the next, actually, believe tomorrow, starting tomorrow, over the next 3 days, we should look forward to seeing them. But also, they want this Meghan news to take top, tier for the headlines. Harry's giving Meghan her moment for her new podcast launch.